Welcome everyone to Architect Multi-Org Strategies with Data Cloud One. We are so happy to see you here and everyone who is joining us online. So let's begin with a big attitude for gratitude. Thank you so much for being here. Um, I'm Nidhi Sharma. I'm Senior Software Engineering Lead at Cox Automotive, and I have Jit.
Hey everyone, my name is Jitendra Jha. I am a CTO in IBM for CRM service practice.
All right, and we're gonna begin with a problem that everybody can recognize easily. And then we're gonna talk about the solution a little bit. One governed data plane called Data Cloud One. And then we're gonna leave with 4 decisions or the critical steps that you may all need to go because you're here. I can assume that you have many orgs to manage, just like us here. When you go back in your home orgs, the decisions that you may need to take when you implement Data Cloud One. So let's dive in. I'm going to start saying that whenever you have multiple orgs in your system, none of that is a mistake. Your business expands, your business, new acquisitions happens, and new organizations get added to the system, right? And whenever these acquisitions are happening, what problem comes with that is our customers. They are now sitting in different systems under different records, many histories associated with them, but then there is no one way to connect them with all, right? Many systems, many records for the same customer, right? And then in order to solve that, different teams are implementing different logics, different matching rules to get to the point where we can identify that customer. Integration layer comes in, a lot of efforts goes in there, which is none of that is wrong, right? I mean, our business is expanding because our business is supposed to expand. And teams are working hard behind the scene to make the customer still connect with the same record. It's not getting anywhere, right? So that is a problem we are talking about, and the solution that we will propose as in terms of Data Cloud One for multi-org strategies, where we are kind of elevating our customer one layer above the organizational boundaries and giving a unified profile for them. I'm going to yield the floor for Jitendra for the next slide.
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi. So, like Nidhi mentioned, it is very common to have multiple org in your enterprise. Now, the approach and the target is always that it has to be single org, because single org or centralized org always have an advantage. But there could be like multiple reasons that you end up having a multiple org. The common reasons are either like acquisitions that you happen, and acquisitions come up with their own Salesforce org. I mean, it happens with us in IBM. We did a lot of acquisition over the period of time, and each, like 3 or 4 acquisition, we had to bring an org with us, which was like Salesforce org. Other reason that we would end up having a multiple Salesforce org is like data, compliance, sometimes a different business unit who needs a different kind of the data in the processes, right? So our baseline is, okay, let's agree with the fact that it is possible that in your enterprise, you are going to have a multiple Salesforce org. So if that is the case, the big question really comes is, okay, if you have a multiple org, how you are going to get the unified profile of the users, or how to get the unified data about your customers, right? So one disclaimer, we are talking about Data 360 here, but the product name that we are talking about is still known as a Data Cloud One, right? So in the Data Cloud One, there is this concept of the home companion pattern. So we talked about that, why we might end up splitting the org. Home org can be because of multiple reasons. Now, one of the important aspect in the home and the companion is home org is an org where you will have your data cloud. That is where you're going to ingest the data. You're going to identify, you have to harmonize, and you're going to activate the data. Now, the companion orgs are going to be all the other orgs which will have a Data Cloud One package, but it will not have a Data 360 or Data Cloud license itself. However, it would still be able to take all the advantages of Data 360. So for an example, unified profile, CIs or like activations, all those information would be available in the companion org. So this diagram that you see here, right? So we have a home org. That's where all the ingestion, unification, harmonization is happening. And then that org has a data space that I'm going to talk a little bit more about what that is. And that metadata gets synced in the companion org, and companion org on the real time would be able to see all those data. So this is the approach that we are going to talk about. So the question is, okay, why does the data cloud one matters? So before, the real problem is what happens is each org rebuilds its customer context again and again. You are duplicating effort, you are duplicating data, and what that means is you have duplicate integrations. Identity unification that you are having, each org could end up having its own conflicting identity, and then definitely the slow onboarding, each org needs to have their own data 360, whole plan and everything, right? It really misses the concept of if you really end up having a multiple Salesforce org, you should not end up having a multiple data cloud in each Salesforce org. So that is a before picture, but once we bring the home and companion model, what then happens is we have one unified profile linked to every source. Every org finds the same person, and source system, in this case data home companion org, still owns operational truth. Now what is the advantage of that approach is one trusted profile layer, less duplication of the work, and faster scale out. So if we are going to implement a multi-org strategy with the home and companion architectural, the most important decision comes is which org should be your home org. So on the basis of the implementations that I have gone through and Nidhi also have gone through, right, we have come up with a matrix which would really help how to pick which org is going to be the home org out of 4 or 5 orgs that you have. So what we can have is we have come up with a matrix which would help you make a decision, and what we call it as a decision grade method, right? So it's like weighted matrix, and it will only help you on the stage number 1, and we are going to talk about stage number 2. So how this matrix works is stage number 1 is really the hard gate. What this is, we are going to eliminate org that fail non-negotiable criteria. So for an example, your org has a strict regulation, data residency requirement, or strict, for an example, the business processes that cannot be changed. Those org completely goes away from that matrix where we're going to consider, we're going to weight each org that are these org rights suitable for the home org. So they are gone. So even before we start scoring, we need to remove those org. Those are what we call as a hard gates. Second is a weighted domain. So once you figure out, okay, out of the 5 org, which 2 or 3 or 1 org is not at all suitable for the home org, and every org that got selected, let's give them the score. Now the score category can be multiple category depending on what kind of the organization you have, and some of the example could be like integration gravity, which org has a lot of integration, which org has a huge or mature governance in place, data readiness. That could be like your step number 2. Step number 3 is there could be some discounting. So even though you got a perfect org, there could be some edge cases, some scenario where those org might not be the perfect pick for the home org. And the reason could be reversibility cost or local resistance is too high. The business units are saying, no, we don't want our org to behave as a home org. If those things happens, you have to apply the discount on top of it. And the most important thing is a sensitivity check. So in the matrix, once you weight all the org, which is going to be home org, and if you change some criteria, and every time the result fluctuates, sometimes the org 1 becomes home org in the matrix, sometimes org 2 becomes org in the matrix, that means it's a problem. Because changing 1 or 2 criteria should not change your criteria, or should not change a lot that, okay, home org is just keep fluctuating. So what really makes this decision great is, right, we really applied this in real life for our implementation. And the most important thing about the home org is it is not going to be the perfect. Okay, there is not going to be any org that will be always 100% scored, but what that means it is going to have a lowest regret choice. So out of the 5 org, if I select this org as a home org, the business is not going to complain a lot, or we are not going to do a lot of integration, we are not going to spend a lot of money. Those needs to be the lowest regret choice. That's what the best suitable org becomes home org. So this is a step number 2, and this is the most important one. And this is just as an example, right, for just to explain how this concept works. So if you see this table, we came up with these criteria like data residency fit, a name credential, central governance maturity, shared services. And then for each criteria, out of these 4 decision grade, we said, okay, which decision was applied here? And then we gave a weight. Out of the 100%, what are the weight? And then we have a 3 org, what was the good candidate for the home org? And those org were like headquarter org, EMEA org, and there is another new company that we acquired company. Now if you see, the most important decision, the winner eventually came back as HQ org because it has a highest weight, which is 4.45. But that weight, the most important came from shared services reach. If you see the last one, the shared services were prominent in the headquarter org, which give it to the 4 point. And after that, if you see, it's the integration density. That org had a lot of density. That means that org had a lot of data already. Because in the data 360, you need to ingest the data from multiple systems to create a unified profile. If that org already had a tons of integration, and that means if we go either on EMEA org or the another org, we would end up recreating those integrations again and again. So what we decided is, okay, one org already have a tons of data, let's mark that org as a home org. So what's going to happen is a home and companion, you decided, okay, which org is going to be the home org. After that comes the very important part, which is a shared space. Does anybody know what is a shared space in the data 360? Okay. So the shared space in the data cloud or data 360 is a logical partition of your data. Because your home org would end up having a tons of data about the user, customer, and what's going to happen is that data needs to be synced to your companion org, or because companion org needs to see that data. But how would you make sure not every companion org needs to see every data? Let's assume that home org has hundreds of objects, companion org would only need few objects, right? The way to simplify that in terms of the architecture, there is this concept of the data shared spaces, and how it works is you have a data source, which is going to be your home org, and each companion org may have one or multiple data spaces. That's how the companion org would decide that what are the subset of the data that we're going to need, right? So companion org can be divided on the basis of regional decision, it can be divided on the basis of the business unit, and it can also be decided on the basis of global shared services. So the second concept, like a data space, is very important. That's where we have to decide that how you're going to divide that. Now another important thing is, we all know that data cloud, the biggest advantage is really the identity that has to be real, right? So before data cloud 1, what really happens is each source is valid. Each org is going to have a valid data. The problem is none of that data is going to be complete. The same contact in the 2 different org has a different value. But how you're going to solve, how the data cloud 1 or the home companion model is going to help you that is, once you combine all those org in the home org, now what we got is one unified profile linked to every source. Now in every companion org and the home org is going to find the same person, and source system still own the operational truth here. That is, and again, one clarification is, it is not the golden record. Each org still have its own data, own record. It's just the unified view of all those data coming together for the unified identification. Now, we talked about the matrix, what do you for the matrix, what we use for deciding home org. We talked about data spaces, we got advantage of that approach. The question is, in real software development, SDLC, how that's gonna work? Previously, home and companion org was only possible in the production. Now the good news is that is also available in the sandbox. So this is really very important, right? In your project, the moment you think about home and companion, you should consider that as its own project, not a module of the project. And when you decide that this whole initiative is going to have its own project, the question comes, how your CI/CD pipeline gonna behave? I recommend, and on the basis of our experience, is in the CI/CD or software development, you can divide the responsibility into the three teams: central team, the regional view team, and the shared services team. Central team is gonna own the shared plane, like data spaces. Regional and the BU team is gonna handle identity rules, policies, and they're gonna approve that what really data is going to be exposed on all the companion. Because see, when you are bringing multiple orgs together, you're bringing different stakeholders together. Everybody has to talk each other, everybody has to agree to the architecture. So this team is gonna make sure that they talk with all the stakeholders, making sure that they agree that what we are gonna expose to the companion org. And then the shared services. Now this team is gonna own the actual deployment. This team is gonna own the CI/CD pipeline review, what is going to be the release window, all those stuff. So central data team is really the data compliance team. Regional view team is going to talk to all the team, making sure what data is going to be exposed and why. And the last team, shared services team, is gonna own how it is going to be implemented. And this is really a very quick 2-second reference architecture, putting everything together, what we just talked. Number one is we have a home org. Home org is going to ingest the data from all the sources, physically data, staying in the home org. And then we are going to have a data spaces. Data spaces can be one, it can be multiple. Now here the data spaces are based on regional, on the basis of services, and also on the basis of how we are going to build a global profile. And we are also going to have onboarding template. Because today we have a 3 companion org, tomorrow 4th or 5th may come. How fast and how easily we can bring all those companion org in this architecture. For that, we are going to need onboarding template. Now, these are all the companion org. These are the 5 org if you see here. Now, it explains at the bottom that all these companion org is using which data space. So these 2 orgs are using regional data space. These orgs are using service data space. These orgs are using global profile data space. And then the acquired company is a new org. We have not decided anything yet which data space is going to use. So it is going to use the global template for now. So with that, I will hand it over to Nidhi for the quick demo, just to show you really how it looks in your org.
Perfect. Yeah. So by now you already have decided which org will be your home org, which one will be going to the companion org, and what data spaces will be sharing, right? So let's get a quick look into how it looks in practice. When you are in the Data Cloud 1, you will go to the data setup page. That is where you will see the data spaces. Data spaces, as Jitendra already mentioned, are the space logical boundaries which helps you protect the data and improve your data organization. For the demo purposes, we have the TDX data space created here. And after that, we're going to go to the Data Cloud 1 page. This is where the home companion model actually comes to life. The home org, as it said, you already said, harmonize, resolves the identity, governs the Data Cloud app. The companion, on the other side, connects and consumes the data spaces that is being shared with it. After that, we're going to go into the Data Cloud 1 app to show you the data streams. And the reason why I want to show you is that we will not be consuming the entire data streams there. That is where the privacy comes in. As Jitendra mentioned, you can decide what to share and what to protect using the data spaces for the companion orgs. TDX data space consuming only the 14 fields out of some 234 fields there, privacy and the security in practice. After that, I'm going to go in my companion org, actually. Video is a little behind than me. Now, this is going to be my companion org. Does not have the Data Cloud or Data Cloud 1, Data 360, so many name changes. but does not have it. But here you can still see the connection, the companion org is connected to the data cloud connection for the home org and the data spaces this org is consuming. From here you can see that. And then the next slide will be my payoff slide. You saw the record of Aisha Saad on the slides there, where initially when there was no home companion model, the record was so scattered everywhere. But in this case, after the home companion model is built, you will see the unified customer profile in the companion org. Again, I'm a little too fast here because we are running out of time, but really want to show you this thing. This is the component I'm talking about, unified customer profile component in the companion org. This org technically did not contribute anything for the data that it is ingesting. So this is Data Cloud 1 in action, multiple org, many teams working together, one unified profile, all here. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Nidhi. So just to wrap up quickly, right, what you saw, what Nidhi has explained is we have a data spaces that controls what data needs to be exposed. So security, privacy is not a concern, right? The key takeaway from this session, how we did, is we mapped all the orgs in a few weeks. We decided the same formula, same graded matrix that I have shown you on the how we decided the HQ org or the home org. We started with the service cloud, because that was the simplest org to start with in the companion, and we got a huge value out of it. And then we literally mapped all the orgs within a week because of the global template. So again, thank you everybody for coming here. I know it's an early session, and I hope you all are going to enjoy the TDX session.
Thank you.